Hey guys, what's going on? This is RJ Game News USA here, back today with another video. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. So this is going to be an interesting video. A little bit of drama here. We're actually going to cover a debate. I'm not going to react to the clip. You can find the full debate on World War Debate. It's a small YouTube channel that is trying to grow, and they're trying to do so by inviting people to this spectacle, theatrical atmosphere to have debates amongst people. And the main event was Anna Kasparian versus Pearl Davis over feminism. So, before we get into the details of the debate and who I think won, I'm going to start off by saying this. Regardless of my personal beliefs, when I'm judging a debate, I'm not necessarily judging what the correct side is, especially in matters of opinion, such as on feminism. I'm more or less looking at who won the debate, not just on style or substance or facts, but just who was controlling the conversation, who was owning their opponent. Because the thing is, when I was in debate class, you had to be able to argue any side you were on. And I do take that into life as well. I can argue for anything or argue against anything in a given situation. That's why when I go against people online and I have online beef versus them, I could absolutely own them in every way, shape, and form. Because I have the ability to be versatile and cutthroat when it comes to arguing online. So, I am looking for the more aggressive debater. I am looking for the more cutthroat debater. And I am looking at also who's backing things up with the facts, who isn't backing things up, how they acted, you know what I mean? And when it comes to this debate, I have a lot of interesting things to say. But first, I better go ahead and tell you guys who Anna Kasparian and Pearl Davis are. So Anna Kasparian is somebody that's been working for the Young Turks. She was super lefty, super left-wing, and I guess in the last couple years, I wasn't aware of this, she went more unaffiliated and has distanced herself from the left somewhat, which is pretty based, honestly. And then you have Pearl Davis, who's also pretty based, usually, because she's bringing up topics that I happen to agree with on certain things, where women don't, there are a lot of women out there that don't give a shit about men's health, or don't give a shit about ruining up families, or charging them child support, or they always get the house in a divorce, or alimony, and, you know, the system's essentially rigged against men now. And to some degree, I somewhat agree with some of her points, right? In general. Only because I've seen so many guys I know that they're fucked out of a family, right? They're forced to leave their home, and the new woman is bringing in some other guy, and now you don't live in your home, you don't see your kids, and now you pay her money. Like, I'm just looking at it as plain facts. You know what I mean? And I think this is a lot of what Pearl was arguing for. But when it comes to this debate, I think Anna Kasparian wiped the floor with her. I think she absolutely destroyed Pearl Davis in this debate. I would have debated Anna a lot better. I do think to some degree it's weird to have a woman arguing hard for male empowerment and against female empowerment. Seems a little odd. It should be a woman versus a man up there. And honestly, I have the take anyway I actually had the most equality take of anybody, because I'm super individualistic. So to me, I don't necessarily agree with the Pearl Davis point of view, which is women need to be in the kitchen and blah, 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 blah. I don't even agree with the Anna Kasparian point of view where it's, hey, women should be equal, but we need this, and that, which actually drives it the other direction. So to me, I just think, and I've always thought this, the government should really just look at men and women as the exact same legally. The exact same legally. What happens morally and out in public and in relationships are people's individual choices of what they want to get into. So I'm all about consent. So like, for example, if a woman wants to be more traditional, I have no issue. If a woman wants to be more, we'll say, more involved in what is classically considered male-dominated, like let's say she wanted to be an electrician, I got nothing against that. I just think we should pay the same fucking taxes. The pay should be the same. And 50-50 child custody with no child support involved. That's how it should be. Okay? So, that being said, in this debate, though, there are 4 cardinal sins you can do in a debate. And Pearl Davis did almost all of these. And that is why she lost. That on top of Anna being very cutthroat, very to the point, and persuasive in her arguments by pointing certain things out as well. For one thing, number 1, contradiction. Pearl Davis promotes a traditional lifestyle over feminism, but yet does not do so herself. And Anna pointed that out. And there's a lot of debaters that won't do that. But I think that's very important to point out hypocrisy. If you can point out somebody who is contradicting themselves willingly, that is pointing out hypocrisy, and that is an automatic loss. That is almost an automatic loss, especially because Pearl doesn't have a good answer for why she lived the way she did, which would be more in line with Anna's worldview. That's because Pearl is unmarried, she's not chaste, and she chose to go pursue a volleyball scholarship and professional volleyball instead of getting married and getting to the kitchen, per se. Right? Which goes against the worldview she's espousing. That's being a hypocrite. That's being contradictory to your own argument. Versus Anna, who's living the life she wants to live. And isn't being contradictory to her own argument. The second thing you never do in a debate is be unresponsive. So, Anna would challenge Pearl on something, and Pearl literally would freeze up on stage. Freeze up on stage. And in all the years I've watched debate on YouTube, I have not seen people freeze up on stage since I was in high school. There were instances where I debated people in high school, and after I gave my opening argument, they'd stand up there and have nothing to say. They would completely freeze. I haven't seen that shit since high school. I was stunned to see that happen to Pearl. And you could never do that. You could absolutely never do that because it will suck all the oxygen out of the room, even if you're good the rest of the debate. If you freeze up and have no response to specific challenges of your argument or your evidence, you lost. That should go without saying. The third thing involving evidence, by the way, the third thing that Pearl did wrong here was she did not source her studies. She did not source some of her evidence. That's the original reason of what Anna called her out for, and then she froze up. But when you don't source your shit, and I know it's annoying, I hate sourcing my shit too, but when you don't source your stuff and your opponent calls you out for it, you must have the name of that study ready. You must have who did that study ready. Even if you don't want to source it in sentence, which I make it a habit to try to source in sentence, I'll say from blah, blah, blah article, according to blah, 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 and then I state my thing. She stated a statistic and did not source it. Now, sometimes that's a little bit of a trap. There's been times I purposely not sourced something, so then my opponent can claim, oh, this is what's your source for that? And then I could tell them it's a way for me to tell the story twice. Anna didn't buy it, which means Anna was either one, confident Pearl didn't keep track of her sources, or two, that Pearl did not have a source and she made the shit up, which is what Anna called her out for. And when she did, and Pearl didn't have the sources, that was a real bad look. First of all, that's an integrity issue, number one, which goes beyond the debate itself. But number two, it makes you lose the debate. So we've already gotten 3 major problems going against Pearl and in Anna's favor for why this is an open and shut, Anna wiped the floor with her debate. Basically. And then the 4th cardinal sin was just flatly lacking confidence. Pearl lacked confidence the entire debate. You know, she let Anna run over her. She let Anna control the conversation. You know, if it had been only that, I probably wouldn't make this video. I probably would say, well, Anna won the debate. But the other 3 reasons is why Anna crushed her in this debate and absolutely humiliated Pearl. And I don't think Pearl should ever do a debate again, personally. She's probably way better off doing videos on her own and not engaging in debate like this at all. And look, I'll be the first to tell you, I made fun of Matt Dillahunty when Andrew Wilson made him quit off stage. Like, that's the other cardinal sin that wasn't committed here, was just quitting. She didn't quit, at least. Like, quitting the debate is the 5th and final cardinal sin. That's the only thing she didn't do. But she did lack confidence. She froze up. She was contradictory and hypocritical. And she didn't source her evidence. Those 4 things will lose you a debate. And, like I said, and quitting, obviously, is self-explanatory, which is what Dillahunty did to Andrew Wilson. And, again, that's flipping the sides of the political spectrum, because Andrew Wilson's right-leaning and Matt Dillahunty's left-leaning. He's usually very good at debates. I was looking forward to that debate, a modern-day debate, months ago or a year ago, whenever it was, and Dillahunty quit like a bitch, which is an automatic, Andrew Wilson win, and disappointed me. Here I was disappointed because Pearl did not hold her own very well, and Anna Kasparian just wiped the fucking floor with her on argument and because of all those cardinal sins that Pearl Davis committed. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all learned something about debate today. And debate could be anything from you're arguing with a troll online to a formal debate. I consider debate like discussion. I mean, yeah, not every discussion has to lead to debate. Not every debate is only a discussion. But I view the two could be hand in hand when you're having a disagreement. There is a level of, depending what it is, formality versus informality. Here, this was, you come out to WWE style music for debate. There's a little entertainment factor happening here. So I feel like it was okay for Anna to be a little mean with some of her comments towards Pearl because of the setting. It wasn't really a super professional shake hands setting. But either way, Anna won. That's the bottom line. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But this is RJ signing out. Have a good one.